The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus told his disciples a parable. Can a blind person guide a blind person? Will not both fall into a pit? No disciple is superior to the teacher, but when fully trained, every disciple will be like his teacher. Why do you notice the splinter in your brother's eye, but you do not perceive the wooden beam in your own? How can you say to your brother, "Brother, let me remove that splinter in your eye," when you do not even notice the wooden beam in your own eye? You hypocrite! Remove the wooden beam from your eye first, then you will see clearly to remove the splinter in your brother's eye. A good tree does not bear rotten fruit, nor does a rotten tree bear good fruit. For every tree is known by its own fruit. For people do not pick figs from thorn bushes, nor do they gather grapes from brambles. A good person out of the store of goodness in his heart produces good, but an evil person out of a store of evil produces evil. For from the fullness of the heart, the mouth speaks. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
It's always a gift to have an experience of being someone on the outside looking in. Of going maybe even where we're very uncomfortable and seeing where we want to go, but having a poverty of means of getting there. It's good to have that experience. It gives us a solidarity of those who perhaps are longing to enter the church, but don't know how. My current work routine has me driving a very small car daily because at a given moment, I need to drive anywhere in the Archdiocese to be there for somebody with my job. However, recently, a couple days of the week have opened up to give me a chance to try something new. You see, for years now, I've been driving around, and I've been noticing people on the bus, on mass transit. And I've had this odd relationship. I'm enjoying my independence, being able to go where I want to go, but then I see something very attractive about people traveling together. They're not necessarily having a party on those buses, but they don't have to worry about the stop and go traffic and worry about that driver or that driver. They've turned over the driving to someone else, and they've all kind of welcomed each other on board, right? There's always been something attractive about that to me. And so when those couple days of the week have opened up for me recently, I said, I'm going to go start riding the bus. I didn't do any research like I should have, but I showed up at a transit station one day, and I started to frantically read the boards of numbers and routes and where it would take me, and then I realized I don't know how to get on a bus. I've never done it before, and I'm embarrassed to say that, but there's, again, something valuable about being someone on the outside longing to get in and having a poverty of means of getting there. So I flagged down a lady who walked by. I said, "Hi, I'm embarrassed. I'm 51. I've never ridden a bus before. I have money. What do I do? I'm trying to get here. I think I want to go there. I really just want to get on the bus." Literally, she looked at me, turned, walked away. And good to have an experience of someone on the outside longing to get in. And even when you desperately start to flag somebody down, you start to realize that maybe you're kind of marginalized and forgotten, right? And so I stood there continuing as people ran by me, kind of pushing me out of the way because they had their routine, and they're like beeping things and taking out special cards and stuff and greeting each other. And I was standing there in the cold at the transit station. I eventually, so desperate, I took more money than I knew I needed, and I got on and I inserted the money and I waited for change, and the bus driver said, "Dude, there's no change." It's a very expensive learning experience in a number of ways, but I got on board and I sat and I was just turning the driving over to someone else. And I've kind of figured out some things along the way with that. And then recently, a beautiful thing happened. I was at a different transit station, and I noticed a lady there who was looking very official. And she said, "Hey, how you doing today? I want to tell you about a couple changes to our routes and shuttles." And I said, "Wow, can I ask you a couple questions? I've been taking this route to go here, and I'm wondering if that's the best." She said, "Oh, I'm really glad you asked, because a lot of people think that, but here's actually an insider scoop. You want to do this?" And I asked her a couple of questions, and she said, "I don't know, but that's a good question. I'm going to research that myself." She did the opposite of shrugging her shoulders and walking away from me. She engaged me. She saw me coming. She listened to where I wanted to go. She helped me to get on a better bus for me, right? Today's gospel is all about how we help people get on the bus, how we evangelize, how we help people come to Jesus. And perhaps there's something powerful about asking God for eyes to see those who are not on the bus right now, that maybe we are guilty of inadvertently turning and walking away because we're caught up in our own habits, and we rush by people who are desperately but unknowingly trying to get on with us, right? Maybe we could be guilty, as Jesus points out, of judging others who aren't on the bus as being selfish and too caught up in their independence, right? Not knowing that that beam in our own eye is preventing us from seeing their desperation and their longing as they look on us, right? Jesus says, "Don't presume to lead others if you are truly blind." But we know that with eyes of faith, God can allow us to see others. He says, "Be careful not to judge others, but rather see them as longing for what truth we have found." And he speaks of integrity, that even though we don't wear official metro jackets, we are at baptism marked with the sign of faith, which gives us full authority to greet people, eyes to see their desperation, their longing, and the courage in Jesus to step down from the cross periodically, perhaps, to walk with others, to get in line, and to get on board together.